After you have completed the personal SWOT analysis, the next step is for you to validate what you've done and to also talk to your personal network about your strength and your weaknesses and have them help you assess your personal branding SWOT analysis. And the 360-degree terminology basically came from the HR world, human resources world, where it's a performance evaluation tool for managers and team members to assess their performance by getting information and comments from all the people that work around them. So that's where 360 degree comes from. So next we want to think about, just in terms of your network, who are the people that could give you some of this valuable validation in terms of what you've come up with for your personal branding SWOT analysis. So what I would suggest is to crowdsource your personal branding SWOT. So now that you've gone through the effort of looking at your strengths, your weaknesses, and to think about, what are the gotchas and maybe even some of the opportunities for yourself, it really would be helpful to talk to your mentors and peers and clients and friends to help you reassess the SWOT that you come up with, because I think they have a more objective view of what it is that you do either in the work environment or also outside of the work environment. So again, by sort of crowdsourcing your personal branding SWOT, I think you'll get some very valuable information and comments and suggestions. And maybe what you might do is also send out, in case, the SWOT analysis brings up some really personal things for you, you can always send out a sanitized version for each group of audience. So perhaps the one you send at work doesn't mention some really serious personal flaws that you mentioned, or perhaps the ones you send to your personal network doesn't mention some of the specific things at work. But I do think that if you have a uniform version that you're working with, it'll be easier for people to comment on that and make suggestions instead of turning into sort of Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, where you have one version for the people at work, but then one version for your personal network, and the two doesn't even mesh, or doesn't even integrate. So I think it's okay to sanitize a little bit, so that, like I said, if it's something really personal that you're not quite ready to share, or for your personal network, there are some specific things about work that you're not, it might either confuse them or wouldn't be appropriate for them to comment on it. Then I think it's okay to sanitize that and get the comments back. All right, so then the next thing I would suggest is you can also survey your network. And the way you might do that is actually by making use of something like the Google Forms or SurveyMonkey, where you can come up with some key questions or maybe even follow-up questions. So let's say you've done your personal branding 360-degree evaluation already, and you're not clear on what it is or which direction you want to head. It might be helpful to make use of the SurveyMonkey or Google Forms to ask that follow-up question. Or in lieu of the personal SWOT, sending it out around, crowdsourcing it, you could just make use of the surveys to ask specific questions about your strengths, your weaknesses, some of the opportunities that are coming your way, or people may be able to help you assess, and then some of those gotchas, like I said, that would be helpful to get your network to help you reevaluate that. And also, make sure that if you do send out a form or a survey, to include an open text area so you can capture some good qualitative comments. I found through the years of doing market research surveys that some of the most important information came from these open text suggestions and comments. And again, I think you can easily find tutorials on Google Forms and SurveyMonkey if you need some help as far as setting up those surveys. And like I said, keep it simple and use it as a way to either follow up the SWOT analysis you come up with, or use it to ask those specific questions about what direction or what areas you should focus on in terms of looking at strengths and weaknesses versus opportunities and threats.